Welcome, everyone. Your full moon in Cancer horoscopes and tarotscopes for the full moon in Cancer on December 26, 2023. So the full moon is when the sun and the moon are in opposite signs. The sun is now in Capricorn and the moon is in Cancer. So full moons are a period of completion, releasing, letting go. What is love flows, what is not goes. The full moon is a time to conclude and cleanse the cycle started at the new moon. The new moon was in Sagittarius and it was on December 12th. How will this full moon in Cancer affect you? Well, determine where 4 degrees of Cancer falls in your astrology chart. That's where you're experiencing completion, illumination, and where you're releasing energy. In this video, we're going to ballpark it using your sign and or rising sign, but you might want to find out where exactly in your chart that 4 degrees of Cancer appears. The first aspect, this full moon, is a harmonious sextile to Jupiter in Taurus. So the full moon in Cancer sextiling Taurus offers us a phase of prosperity and expansion. It'll gently nurture our sense of security and abundance. The full moon will also make a harmonious trine to Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is going to bring us a calming flow of emotional resilience and maturity, fostering a grounded connection to our dreams and intuitions. Mars, planet of action, drive, and initiative, will conjunct Mercury in Sagittarius, and Mercury is retrograde. So with Mars conjuncting Mercury retrograde, it's ideal for finalizing those things that you already started prior to the retrograde on December 12th. You can also use Mars conjunct Mercury retrograde to strategize and plan for the upcoming year. Mercury retrograde is fantastic for planning, outlining, because communication, since it's slower from our perspective under the retrograde, can help us to plan and strategize quite well. Aries. So this full moon in Cancer Aries is hitting your 4th house of home, family, and emotional security. So you want to embrace domesticity and your enhanced emotional security. You want to determine how far you've come when it comes to feeling at home within the self. The 4th house is all about tapping into the energy of the divine mother. So you want to see how you've become a better nurturing parent to yourself. You also might be completing matters domestically. This could be a time in which you're finalizing renovations or finding a new home. Also, because the full moon illuminates, you could get clarity on what you need to feel more at home within the self. You can get clarity this full moon on what you need to feel more emotionally secure. Now, Mars and Mercury retrograde are transiting your 9th house. The 9th house has to do with expansion and growth and going big. It rules foreign travel, higher education, and it also pertains to publishing and broadcast projects. So you may be finalizing a project you started prior to December 12th, or revising such a project, or utilizing this Mars-Mercury conjunction to plan a big endeavor for 2024. You might be planning out a big publishing project or a big broadcast that you're going to do. You also might decide that you want to plan a foreign trip or even higher education for yourself. Now let's see, Aries, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries, wisdom for Aries. 10 of Cups, a wonderful card. So the 10 of Cups is happily ever after. It's about emotional fulfillment because it's a 10. So you want to determine, first and foremost, how far you've come. Of course, you're completing an emotional cycle. So all of your water, it's filled up to the brim. You might be over certain things and you might be feeling really, really grateful, lots of gratitude, but you have a lot of emotion. And the next stage of your plan is to determine what you want to do with it. What are you concluding? What are you finalizing? And what is the next step? Because the cross sum of 10 is 1. So with a 10 comes not just a completion, but a new beginning. So you want to determine this full moon, what is your happily ever after? What is going to make you feel complete and filled up with love and abundance? And what do you need to change in 2024 to make that realizable? Taurus. So this full moon in Cancer, Taurus, is hitting your 3rd house. And the 3rd house has to do with a lot. It's the house of communication. It rules the lower mind. It pertains to your neighborhood, your neighbors, your siblings, your mindset, how you think, how you communicate, how you socialize. It covers a lot. So this full moon, you may want to look at how far you've come when it comes to communications. Have you developed a strong mindset that will allow you to achieve your goals? Are you thinking the thoughts that feel good? You also may be completing a communications project, maybe finalizing a manuscript or any other project that pertains to communication. This full moon may also illuminate how you need to communicate better, not just with others, but first and foremost, yourself. Do you have the right mindset? We get in life what we focus on. There's no other main rule. So are you focusing on what you want? And are you doing that habitually? Meanwhile, Mars and Mercury retrograde are transiting your 8th house of rebirth. So now might be a time in which you're reflecting on the major changes you've gone through over the past year. You may have ended something and now you're reviewing what that has turned out to be. You may have set a boundary and now you're reflecting on that boundary that you set and seeing whether or not it serves you. Likewise, you could have dissolved a boundary. You could have grown closer with somebody and let down your walls, and now you're reflecting and seeing whether or not that serves you. With Mars and Mercury retrograde conjunct, it's a good time for you to plan the next stage of your development. The 8th house is all about empowerment through transformation. So you may want to look at your 2024 and see what changes, big changes you want to make. What do you want to end? Where do you want to go into? And allow yourself to determine what this might look like. Maybe you want to end something. Maybe you want to end a job or a relationship, or maybe you want to start a new job or enter a new relationship. Well, with Mars and Mercury retrograding in your 8th house, this is a good time to determine what is going to be your psychological process. How are you going to release and let go of those things that no longer serve you? And if you want to have major, gigantic changes in 2024, utilize this full moon to determine what that looks like. Get your yearly calendar ahead of you and plan your work and work your plan. Now let's see, Taurus, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, Taurus, wisdom. Seven of Cups. So Seven of Cups is about dissipation. It's the minor arcana equivalent of the moon card. So when you get Seven of Cups, it's a good idea to be passive. The wind is still in your face, so no momentous decisions, which makes a lot of sense due to Mercury retrograde. Positively, Seven of Cups is about becoming almost one with your creativity. It's about really letting everything go and allowing yourself to blend and meld in with your imagination and doing whatever it is that you can to align deeply with your vision, right? Whatever it is that you're looking for. Also, if you're a creator or an artist, this could be an incredibly creative time for you. It's a time in which you want to just like let things go. This card is very much all about surrendering and being passive, and you can do that in a very positive way when it comes to your visualizations and your creativity. Gemini, this full moon in Cancer will be transiting your second house. So first and foremost, you want to look at how far you've come financially. Maybe you've achieved some really great financial goals, or maybe you've gotten more clear on your values and you're achieving your values, you're fulfilling your values. So you want to acknowledge the growth that you've had when it comes to your money, your value fulfillment, and also your sense of self-worth. The second house also has to do with your talents, your natural skills and abilities. So maybe you've developed them further over the past year, and you really need to acknowledge that. Likewise, you may find that this full moon illuminates what you need to do in order to achieve your financial goals, in order to achieve value fulfillment. So allow yourself to really think about what it is that you want financially for 2024, what your values are, and what talents you may want to express more in the new year. Now, with Mars and Mercury retrograde transiting your seventh house, you may be reflecting on your relationships this full moon. There may be a little bit of conflict. So you want to diffuse conflict, of course, and allow yourself to assume positive intent. There could be a lack of understanding going on in a partnership. Further, you may be deciding that you want to fortify a partnership, strengthen it, or maybe even make adjustments to a partnership so you're feeling better. You also might want to use Mars and Mercury in your seventh this full moon to really think about your goals in 2024 when it comes to relationships. How do you want to partner with other people in the world? Do you want a relationship, a romantic relationship? Do you want a business partner? Do you want that perfect consultant? Do you want that perfect secretary? The seventh house has to do with long-term partnerships. So utilize this full moon to reflect on the partnerships you have, make adjustments as necessary, and really consider what partnerships in 2024 will best serve you. Now let's see, Gemini, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Gemini, wisdom for Gemini, wisdom for Gemini. Queen of Pentacles. So this is a really great card. The Queen of Pentacles is all about maintaining the status quo. In the Tarot, the Queen of Pentacles is ruled by the sign of Taurus, the fixed earth sign. So this is really about you allowing yourself to ground where you're at and maintain status quo. The Queen of Pentacles is not really ambitious. She really is very much like Taurus. She wants food in the fridge and she wants to feel great physically. So get in touch this full moon with the simple, innocent pleasures. Don't make any sudden moves. Instead, ground yourself and enjoy the finer things in life. Things are going to get more clear for you once Mercury goes direct, which is January 1st. But because Mercury takes a little bit to get back up to speed, you want to think late January for launching those large-scale plans, for making those momentous decisions. But until then, feel amazing and enjoy your accomplishments. Happy full moon, Cancer, full moon in your sign. This full moon is transiting your first house, which is all about you. This is about your identity and how you assert yourself in the world. Think of the phrase, I am. Whatever we put after I am is super important. So you want to really think about who you want to be, because that's who you really are. But most important, this full moon is to look at how far you've come and really look at those personal milestones you've achieved and really give yourself credit. This also might be a time in which you are being illuminated to who you really are, your deeper sense of authenticity and how you do want to show up in the world. So you're going to be feeling a lot of energy, of course, this full moon, and you want to allow yourself to flow love to yourself, your projects, the friends and family you have, and even those people in the future who may help you. Now, Mars and Mercury retrograde are transiting your 6th house of lifestyle. So maybe prior to December 12th, when we had Mercury retrograde, you started a new fitness regime. Well, this is a great time to double down on it. I understand it's the holidays, so certainly not easy. But you could do that. You could fortify your diet, your systems, your processes, or even revise it. You might get a sense now of, oh, geez, I want to do this instead. This agrees with me more. You also might want to use Mars and Mercury retrograde transiting your 6th to plan your 2024. How can you streamline your systems and processes so you're achieving your goals without wasting energy? So refine your health and your work routines this full moon and allow yourself to double down on those things that you've created, those systems and processes in your life that are serving you well. Now let's see, Cancer, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in your sign. Wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer. Justice. So the Justice card speaks about cause and effect. Some decision has been made, and now it's a matter of balancing it. Or it's a matter of you need to strike the gavel on something. Something is out of whack. Something is imbalanced. Maybe somebody did you dirty and you need to balance it by not being friends with that person again. Or maybe somebody has rolled out the red carpet for you and has really done some really spectacular things to help you. And it's about balancing that. Like, what can you do for them? But the big message here with the Justice card is to balance. Balance is beautiful. So if you feel like anything is out of whack in your life, utilize this full moon to make things right. Leo, it's time to go to bed. It's time for bed, Leo. You need to get some extra sleep because this full moon is transiting your 12th house. Now, I understand it is the holiday season, and Leo, you are quite the party animal, but please get your rest. Enjoy your privacy. You need a little bit of downtime under a 12th house transit. So get your sleep, because so much can be accomplished when you are sleeping, especially if you give yourself suggestions before you go to sleep, i.e., as I sleep, I ask that all my cells restore themselves to perfect health, you could say. But this is an ending cycle for you, Leo. We're preparing, in essence, for the full moon in your sign come January. And that's going to make you very, very, very big, right? So what do you need to release now in order for you to be more you? How can you release the past? How can you embrace spirituality so you feel more perfect? Additionally, Mars, planet of action, drive, and initiative, is conjunct Mercury, the planet of communication. And Mercury is retrograde. So things are a little bit backwards. It's a great time for you to reflect on what you have achieved creatively and what you want to achieve creatively. This also might be a time in which old lovers come back from the past, because the 5th house has to do with romance. So you may want to review your fun activities and find out, does this still bring you joy? The 5th house is about anything that lights you up. It's the house that your sign rules. And with Mars and Mercury in your 5th, you want to double down on those things that make you feel good. If you're exercising every day, or you're playing billiards, or you're going swimming, whatever, if it's making you feel good, fortify that, double down. Or there might be something that can make you more happy, and you could revise your play. This is also a really great time for you to look at 2024 and say, okay, what's going to really light me up? What's going to make me happy? It might have absolutely nothing to do with your career, because the 5th house pertains to hobbies, things that really bring you joy. The fifth house also has to do with children, your children. So if you want to have children, or you want to enjoy your children more and nurture your relationships, this is a great time to look at the relationships as they are and determine what you can do to make them even stronger. You may also want to use Mars and Mercury in your 5th this full moon to really plot out and plan a huge creative project, right? Or multiple creative projects. But it's a matter of really looking at your 2024 and saying, okay, this is what brings me joy. Where am I going to fit this into my schedule? How can I experience this joy on a regular basis in the new year? Now let's see, Leo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo. Knight of Cups. What a perfect card. So the Knights are all about extremes, right? And the Cups are all about emotions. So this is about an emotional extreme. It's about you achieving your ideals and going after that emotional or spiritual ideal. So this is a great card for you really to get in touch with how you feel emotionally, but most important, how you want to feel. And utilizing Knight of Cups, it's a matter of looking at your 2024 and saying, yes, this is the ideal scenario. This is what I want to manifest. And what does that look like, right? And then plan your year around your emotions, the emotional states that you want to experience, and start practicing those emotions. The Knight of Cups is really about you achieving your heart's desire. So get in touch with what's going to make you really, really happy and determine what that looks like from a strategic standpoint for 2024. Happy full moon in Cancer, Virgo. This full moon is hitting your 11th house. That's a really nice transit. So you want to really look at how far you've come when it comes to your friendships. Maybe you've developed some great new friendships over the past year, or you've become more involved in a community and that's brought you a lot of joy, or maybe you've achieved a stage of completion with a dream or goal. Likewise, this full moon could be about you completing something with friends, or completing something with a group, or completing something when it comes to a hope, dream, wish, or ideal. Also, because the full moon illuminates, you might get clarity on a friendship. You might get clarity on a community or group, or you might get clarity on your greatest hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals. Now, with Mars and Mercury, which is retrograde, transiting your 4th house, this is a time of really reflecting and reviewing what's going on domestically. How do you feel at home? Do you love your home? Do you love the day-to-day regime that you have, those routines that make you feel familiar? Are you experiencing on a regular basis a deep sense of self-trust and emotional security? Are you really in touch with the divine mother within that is nurturing you each and every day? You also might be stabilizing stuff in the home front. Maybe you're finalizing renovations, or maybe you're redecorating, or maybe you're in the process of finding that new home. If you haven't started such a process, why not use this aspect, this full moon, to really look at 2024 and plan out a strategy for a new home, for a better domestic life, and for most importantly, for emotional security. It's a great opportunity for you to plan out what's going to make you feel more at home within the self, and how you can get really in touch with that divine mother. Now let's see, Virgo, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Virgo, wisdom for Virgo, wisdom for Virgo. 10 of Cups. So you are closing an emotional cycle, and you probably have an excess of emotion, right? 10 of Cups is a lot of emotion. So you want to really determine where you're letting go emotionally. What are you finalizing? What are you completing? And because the cross sum of 10 is 1, you're not only completing an emotional cycle, but you're starting a new one. So you want to determine what's going to make you happily ever after, right? What's going to make you really, really joyful and contented in 2024. And you may want to plan that out. But this is a wonderful card. It's about happily ever after. So count your blessings and determine what new blessings you want to experience in the new year. Libra, this full moon in Cancer is transiting your 10th house. So first and foremost, give yourself a pat in the back professionally. You probably cut cake this year, so definitely look at your professional achievements. You also might be deciding that you want to complete something professionally. Maybe you're over a certain career trajectory and you want to do something new. Or maybe the full moon is illuminating your career, and you're getting more clarity on what you want to be known for, what contribution you want to make to society. We also have Mars and Mercury in your third house. Now, Mercury is retrograde, and the third house has to do with communication. So with Mars and Mercury conjunct, it's going to be important for you this full moon to relax and not jump to conclusions. It also might be a time in which you have to make things more clear for other people. Maybe something got misconstrued. Maybe you said something and it came out the wrong way. Maybe somebody said something and you're like, that was weird. This is a great time to get clarity in regard to that. Now, in your third house, it also would be a great time for you to really look at your self-talk and your mindset. Are you a cooperative component for what you want to create? Meaning, is your mind in the right place? If so, well, fortify your mindset, double down. You may also want to revise your mindset. You always have the power to see things differently. So if you can see things as always working out for you, they're likely going to. You also might want to use Mars and Mercury in your third this full moon to plan your 2024. What new communications do you want to be involved with? What do you might want to write? What classes might you want to go to? Who do you want to communicate with on a regular basis? Now let's see, Libra, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra, wisdom for Libra. The High Priestess. So the High Priestess is about non-action. This is about really sensing the potential of a situation and really getting in touch with your intuition. With the High Priestess, it's ruled by the moon, and the moon fluctuates, things change. So this card would advise you to let things be, let it be. Things are developing, there's a lot of potential, and now it's a matter of allowing yourself to align with the subliminal processes that are aligned with your goals. That's how the High Priestess learns things, through osmosis. So definitely surround yourself this full moon around ideas and thought forms that are conducive to your goals, because this is a very subconscious card. So more things can be accomplished in the brain behind the scenes while you sleep than they can be outwardly. So focus on the internal world and your subconscious beliefs that are conducive to your goals. Scorpio, happy full moon in Cancer. This is a nice transit for you. Easy peasy, hitting your 9th house. So with the full moon in your 9th house, you want to think about how far you've come intellectually, how much you've grown over the past 12 months. Maybe there were certain things that really bothered you before, and now you're seeing things from a more big picture perspective. You may have also graduated, right? The 9th house does have to do with higher learning and expansion and growth. So look at what you've learned, maybe not at university necessarily, but what wisdom you've acquired from life. This is also a really great time for you to get better understanding of where you want to go. What large-scale enterprises do you want to launch in the new year? There may be a light shining on that. You also may get illuminated to where you want to go geographically. Maybe you want to go on a trip, or maybe this full moon is going to illuminate what you want to learn next, how you want to expand your horizons. Now, with Mars and Mercury transiting your 2nd house, you want to make sure that you're fortifying your values and your assets. You want to make sure that everything is going according to plan in regard to your income. And also, you may want to check in with your values. Because you're a fixed sign, you may get into doing things habitually when really it might not serve you anymore. I.e., the stuff that you're doing on a regular basis may no longer be relevant. So utilize Mercury and Mars in your second house this full moon to determine what you really care about, what really matters to you. There also may be some talents that you want to explore, maybe something that you were really good at before that you'd like to do again. How might you express your natural gifts and talents? And really, because it's the second house and it's Mercury retrograde, you could really utilize this full moon to plan your 2024 in light of your financial goals, in light of value fulfillment. Because when you fulfill your values, that's what happiness is. Happiness is value fulfillment. So utilize this full moon to check in on your values and determine what you can do on a regular basis to make sure they're being fulfilled. Now let's see, Scorpio, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio. The Lovers. So the Lovers card is about closing an intellectual cycle, a mental cycle. So there's certain things that you've been learning or certain things that you've been doing, and they're being wrapped up. Like you're no longer going to communicate with this group, or you're no longer going to be working on this project, or you're no longer going to be going to this coffee shop, right? The Lovers card is all about making a decision based upon what is most authentic to you. Where do you want to give your energy? Where do you want to experience a certain level of intellectual intimacy, right? For instance, maybe it's a matter of you no longer want to talk on the phone with this friend every single day, or maybe you no longer want to work on such a project that just isn't mentally fulfilling for you. The Lovers card is about making a choice based upon your values. So what choices can you make in 2024 that allow you to be in the best headspace? Because you're an air of water sign, meaning you're the most intellectual water sign. So do yourself a favor with the Lovers, make choices based upon what feels good. If something is no longer feeling good in your regular day-to-day life, close it up, end the cycle, and start a new one. Hey, Sagittarius, happy full moon in Cancer. This one is hitting your 8th house of rebirth, metamorphosis. So you want to really look at how far you've come over the past year. You've gone through some big quantum developments, most likely, and it probably has not been easy. You're a fire sign. The 8th house is a water house. So you probably have really gone through it. And you may be finalizing these endings right now and really getting to the point of realizing, wow, this is over. This is no longer a part of my life. And you have to line up with that and start feeling better in this new normal. The full moon in Cancer also may be illuminating where you need to make changes. What needs to go bye-bye? What is love flows? What is not goes? Meanwhile, you're still feeling all fired up, most likely, from your birthday, but because Mercury is retrograde in your sign and Mars is conjunct Mercury, you may not know whether or not you're coming or going. So this is a great time for you to fortify or double down on your self-assertion, the rules that you've given yourself and the rules that you live by and how you assert yourself in the world. You also may be making decisions on how you want to show up in the world for 2024. This is a great transit for you to really look at your calendar for 2024 and really say, okay, well, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to show up. This is how I want to assert myself. So consider how you can revise your identity to align more with your goals. Now let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius. Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is really a cool card to get. You don't really have to do much. Essentially, Queen of Pentacles is saying, stabilize, right? Maintain status quo. She's not really ambitious. Queen of Pentacles is ruled by the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is really just want two things. They want stability and they want sensuality. They want to feel great in their bodies. They want to enjoy their senses, and they want to have plenty of money and plenty of food in the fridge. So if you can focus your energy on those areas, you're going to be good. The Queen of Pentacles is a great card to get at this time of year when Mercury's retrograde. It's holiday season. It's all about just stabilizing what you have that you like. And of course, there's going to be more work to do. But for right now, stay in the moment, ground yourself, feel amazing in your body, and appreciate your accomplishments. Capricorn. Happy full moon, Capricorn. It's hitting your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. So you may want to see how far you've come, how you have achieved a lot in your one-on-one relationships. Maybe you started a new one, or maybe you gave somebody their walking papers and you feel a whole bunch better, or maybe you're getting more clear now. This is the partnership I want, or this is the one-on-one connection that's going to make me more happy. You also might be determining what you need to do to fortify the relationships that you're in and strengthen them, or even make adjustments to them. Also, you may find this light shining on your partnerships and you're getting clear on, yeah, I definitely don't want this, or I definitely want that. But definitely look at how far you've come in your one-on-one relationships. And if you're a public figure, well, the 7th house also has to do with your audience. So if you've grown your audience or your fan base, give yourself a pat in the back. Now, Mars and Mercury are transiting your 12th house, and Mercury is retrograde. So if there was ever a time for you to lie low, get extra rest, well, this would be it. You want to allow yourself extra sleep, extra privacy, because most of the stuff that's going on right now is on a subconscious level, meaning it's not the time to externalize yourself or to assert yourself so much as it is a time for you to let go, process the past 12 months, and instill the subconscious beliefs that are conducive to your goals. So what do you have to believe about yourself in order to achieve what you want to achieve? So get extra rest, extra sleep this full moon, if at all possible. So let's see, Capricorn, what card you get for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Capricorn, wisdom for Capricorn, wisdom for Capricorn. Death. Now, death card does not mean that you're going to die. In fact, very rarely does the death card indicate a physical death. If anything, it's a birth. But the death card does say that the end is near, right? Or you're going through this metamorphosis, this letting go. So it's going to be important for you to, with the Death card, be flexible. Allow yourself time to mourn what is no longer in your life or what you're moving away from. Because when you get the Death card in a reading, the old times and old experiences, old relationships, etc., must be fully mourned in order for you to usher in the best new beginning possible. So be gentle with yourself, let go, and allow yourself to metaphorically die in order for you to experience a brand new beginning in the new year. Aquarius, happy full moon, Aquarius. This one's hitting your 6th house of efficiency, processes, lifestyle, health, work. Essentially, your 6th house is about your day-to-day nuts and bolts operations. How do you run your life? What's your system? What's your routine? What are your habits? And with the full moon in your 6th, you may have come a long way. Maybe you quit a habit that no longer serves you, or maybe you got more organized, or maybe you streamlined your routines to such a way that you're more efficient than ever before. So look at that. Also, the full moon may be illuminating how you can take better care of yourself, what you need to do in order to feel as perfect as possible. You also may be getting more clear this full moon on how you can streamline your processes. Oh, I've been doing all these extra steps and really I just need to do this. But you want to make sure that you have a nice system in place, including your body. Your body is everything, right? So you want to make sure that it's working well. So this full moon, you might get insight as to what you need to feel as perfect as possible. Now, with Mars and Mercury in your 11th house, you might be fortifying or grounding your work with friends or your experiences with the community. And you also may be fortifying a hope, dream, wish, or goal. You might be moving forward in achieving your highest aspirations. So keep at it if you're close to being done. This also might be a time in which you feel like you need to revise a friendship or revise your experiences with a group or revise a hope, dream, wish, or goal. What you could do also this full moon with Mars and Mercury retrograde in your 11th is look at 2024 and say, okay, well, what are my friendship goals? What are my community goals? And what are my big, large-term, large-scale plans? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And what does that look like? So you could really plot out a strategy for 2024 in which you're actively on a daily, regular basis going after those shiniest apples on the tree. The 11th house is the house of why not? Meaning that there are no dangling carrots in the universe, that if you have a desire, that desire comes with it, the built-in prerequisite ability for you to achieve it. So if you want something, it can be yours. You just have to line up with it. So you may want to utilize this transit to come up with a master plan and then implement it come mid-January when Mercury is not only direct, but out of its shadow period. Now let's see, Aquarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Aquarius, 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 wisdom for Aquarius. Four of Wands. This is a great card. So the Four of Wands is like Thanksgiving. The fours have to do with stability and wands have to do with passion, right? So maybe you stabilized something passionate, maybe a creative project, or maybe you've reached a stage of completion. And with the Four of Wands, even though you might not be completely done and finalized, it's important to celebrate those little victories along the way. The Four of Wands is Lord of perfected work. So you have perfected something in your life. Give yourself that pat in the back and allow yourself to continuously complete things, especially now. Because Mercury and Mars are conjunct, this is a very intellectually stimulating energy. So if you started something prior to December 12th, keep going. Even if it's retrograde, you can finalize it. So complete something and allow yourself that sense of relief. That's what this card gives you, this sense of thanksgiving and relief. So make sure you enjoy it. Pisces, happy full moon in your 5th house. This is a fun transit for you. So the 5th house has to do with anything that you really, really love. Think of it as your creativity, your creations, including your children, if you have children, but also good times, romance, things that light you up and give you joy. So maybe this full moon, you're realizing how far you've come when it comes to expressing your creativity, expressing joy, or maybe you've made major strides with your children or a creative project, but celebrate what you've created this year. It also might be a time in which you're completing a creative project that you started earlier. You also might be illuminated this full moon in terms of what it is that you can do creatively that will light you up. Maybe this full moon is illuminating your desire to have a child, or to write a book, or to create a screenplay, or do something creative. But the full moon is really lighting up that part of yourself that just is like a kid at heart, that just enjoys life. So definitely do whatever it is that you can to indulge that inner child and make sure you play this full moon cycle. Now, on a more serious note, Mars and Mercury are transiting your 10th house. Now, the 10th house has to do with status, position, honors, how the world sees you. So you may be fortifying or doubling down on a career endeavor this full moon. You may be revising your professional plans. What you could do this full moon is consider your professional goals, reflect on them, and make a plan for 2024. Okay, well, if this is where I want to wind up in December 2024, this is what I have to do in January, March, May, etc. So really consider your professional goals and what that looks like on a practical, strategic level. Now let's see, Pisces, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Cancer. Wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces. Love! 2 of Cups. What a wonderful card for you to get. So the 2 of Cups is about love. The 2 cups come together, and he says to her, and she says to him, I share my truth with you. That's what the 2 of Cups love is, about sharing your truth with another person. So this card would indicate that now's your time to really connect with other people. Who do you love? Who do you want to love? And what is it that you can do to share your truth with another person? So definitely consider your relationship goals and how you can express yourself honestly to the person that you love, either the person that you love that's in your life now, or what truths you may communicate with a person in the future, how you can share yourself with them and how they can share themselves with you. Thank you, everyone, for watching your full moon in Cancer horoscopes and tarotscopes. I hope you enjoyed this video and it serves you well. If so, please like and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I have lots of offerings in 2024. You can get your annual New Year reading to find out how you can make the most of 2024. And if you're looking for long-term support and strategic guidance, my one-on-one coaching for the new year might be perfect for you. Plus, every single Thursday, I do classes called Thursday Night Lights. We resume January 4th, 2024. Every single week, we meet at Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we have a metaphysical class geared to empower you and help you create your reality. And that class is followed by a segment of group coaching and masterminding. So if you're looking for extra support in 2024, check that out as well. Have a wonderful full moon in Cancer, everyone, and a wondrous holiday season. I shall see you soon.